Hi, how are you? I hope you're having a great day. I'm going to take you on a journey as researchers begin to uncover some very enlightening things about fibromyalgia. And then I'll finish with present day. So please hang in there with me. Today we're discussing the journey to understand the reduced skin innervation in about half of the people with fibromyalgia and why this is so important. Skin innervation means a dense amount of sensory nerve endings which discriminate between pain, temperature, and touch. And in addition, autonomic nerve fibers are also present in the skin. These nerve fibers are involved in temperature control, sweating, and are very important to our health and well-being. In order for things to really get moving in the clinical world of physicians, researchers must replicate the work of others. That means that if the studies don't closely relate to the new data, then it's not considered a valid study. So what I'll be explaining are those studies that have been replicated for proof of reduced skin innervation in fibromyalgia. So here we go. Through replication, the work is credible, and it takes years, unfortunately, for replication to verify the work of other researchers. All of the research studies are in the description below, but bear in mind, these are only a fraction of the articles on reduced skin innervation in fibromyalgia. In 1976, boy, that takes me back, a physician, Dr. Philip Hinch, developed the name fibromyalgia to explain our symptoms. However, fibrositis would continue to be used by researchers and physicians for some time. The name fibromyalgia was coined because of the understanding of what our disease involves at that time. Fibro means connective tissue, my means muscle, and algia means pain. In 1981, the year my first child was born, Dr. M. Eunice led a study that found additional symptoms in fibromyalgia, like IBS, paresthesias, headache, stiffness, light and sound sensitivity, and so much more. This began a new criterion for diagnosing fibro. In 1987, Littlejohn and colleagues subjected patients to mechanical and chemical vasodilation. Vasodilation is a process where the blood vessels are enlarged, which results in usually decreased blood pressure. It was proposed that the unmyelinated, which means nerves that don't have a protective sheath, the unmyelinated primary afferent nerves, which are the nerves that are conducting toward the central nervous system, were a result of exaggerated neurogenic inflammatory responses in patients with fibrositis. And they believed that's what contributed to pain. Like I said, that was 1987. In 2013, Dr. R. Goodwin discussed the importance of peripheral pain generators in fibromyalgia. But this was refuted by a few researchers because Not all researchers agree on many things. That in this case, the periphery could be involved in fibromyalgia. However, in 2014, Carolyn Winter researchers stated the importance in understanding nerve fiber density in fibromyalgia, evidence of abnormalities in the nerve fiber density. These two researchers performed skin biopsies and found that all of the 41 fibromyalgia patients had evidence of stocking hyposthesia. Stocking comes from the feeling of wearing gloves, and hyposthesia is a total or partial loss of sensation in a part of your body, like numbness and tingling. It's generally referred to as peripheral neuropathy. They measured the epidermal nerve fiber density of the participant's calf and thigh. It was most pronounced in the calf. They stated that advancing age alone can't explain this finding. Patients who knew they had small fiber neuropathy were excluded from the study. They stated that small fiber neuropathy is likely to contribute to the pain symptoms of fibro. That pain in this disorder arises, in part, from a peripheral immune-mediated process, and that measurement of the epidermal nerve fiber density may be a useful clinical tool in fibromyalgia. It appears that Goodwin was right in 2013. These are the symptoms of neuropathy. I have all of these symptoms in my feet and sometimes in my legs. How about you? In 2015, Laverdette and colleagues explained the skin is a highly sensitive organ. It is densely innervated with different types of sensory nerve endings, which discriminate between pain, temperature, and touch. Autonomic nerve fibers, which completely derive from sympathetic neurons, are also present. In 2018, Martinez-Levin, a researcher, stated that findings of small fiber neuropathy in a large subgroup of fibro patients reinforce the dysautonomia neuropathic hypothesis and validate fibromyalgia pain. And again in 2018, researchers explained the accelerated nerve loss in some patients with fibromyalgia. About 50% had small fiber neuropathy. Not only does a skin biopsy diagnose small fiber neuropathy, but an autonomic function test is also appropriate with the biopsy. Many of the symptoms in fibro are likely to be immune-mediated, possibly from a virus. Then, in 2020, more researchers completed skin biopsies of fibro patients and found dermal innervation in their skin that they also believe is a potential contribution to small fiber pathology. They found less contact of dermal nerve fibers with blood vessels in fibro than control participants. They suggested an impaired thermal tolerance commonly found in fibromyalgia. And the most recent, in 2022, other researchers stated the following: nerve injury leads to chronic pain, an exaggerated sensitivity to gentle touch, we call allodynia, as well as a loss of sensation in the areas in which injured and non-injured nerves come together. And this pic shows normal small fibers under the skin and abnormal small fiber loss. And for this next part, I'll paraphrase to make it so it's not quite so boring, at least I hope. In that same 2022 research article that I just mentioned, it stated the full areas of the skin that had full nerve injury initially lost sensation on the skin and then gradually recovered normal sensation 2 months after the initial injury, but then developed allodynia. When we feel pain, it's not normally painful, and being touched became uncomfortable, like in fibromyalgia. But then it moved to different areas of the body, reproducing denervation. This was guided by blood vessels and irregular connectivity in the skin. These results reveal the emergence of a form of chronic neuropathic pain that is driven by structural plasticity. What they say about fibromyalgia. Also, abnormal terminal connectivity, where neurons communicate and release neurotransmitters, and the malfunction of nociceptors, those sensory receptors that produce pain, during reinnervation. In my opinion, this is going to be big, and where researchers will continue to focus their energies. First, let me say that researchers are still not clear on the pathology of neuropathy and fibromyalgia, but it's still something to be aware of. And it appears that all of the patients with small fiber neuropathy also showed odd autonomic function test results as well. I'll talk more about that in another video. Fibromyalgia is not classified as neuropathic pain. It's classified as nociplastic disease. However, neuropathic pain, that is pain caused by a lesion or disease of the somatosensory nervous system, is found in about 40 to 50% of patients with fibromyalgia, and that's a huge percentage. These nerve fibers can transmit sensory and autonomic nervous system signals to the brain and exacerbate the symptoms of fibromyalgia. It might help to explain the pain with central nervous system sensitization and the autonomic nervous system problems found in fibromyalgia. So, small fiber neuropathy is diagnosed by a clinical exam, quantitative sensory testing, which I don't believe is paid by insurance in the United States, but something to look into, and a skin biopsy evaluation. A skin biopsy is usually considered the gold standard in the United States and is a more objective test. But in some cases, a cornea confocal microscopy by your eye doctor is performed because the damage can travel and reach your eyes. The term neuropathic pain could be a painful radiculopathy, such as sciatica. I have L4 radiculopathy, sciatica, or a peripheral neuropathy, as we've discussed today. And there are others as well. Today, I wanted to continue to bring awareness to neuropathic pain in fibromyalgia. There are treatments. Gabapentin is often suggested, for example, and this is also used in fibromyalgia. But having a good night's sleep is also important, Some people find that topical lidocaine patches help too. It helps me. Yoga, relaxation methods, or Tai Chi therapies should also be supplemented. Omega-3 fatty acids are also effective in many people, especially those who have a metabolic disorder. So I hope you learned something. I send you gentle hugs and support. Love you. The 2022 research article, Fibromyalgia by some researchers, and that tightness and whatever, for example, and so